record. I've been told. No, no, just kidding. Just it's like for CNCF and everything, just so everyone has
So
access afterward.
yeah, so the first idea was like maybe make the Kagent UI a little bit more cost efficient because we work on Azure and I need um, to make my calls like smaller and don't hit the I don't know how you call it like frame of tokens that I can send per each session or per each request. And if I work with the logs MCP server like Victoria metrics, it's just not working good. So this is was the main purpose of that. Just NDJSON to reduce token size. And then we just thought why we can connect this dashboard to all Kagent's controllers that we have and make something like distributed. And because Kagent came with a lot of agent out of the box MCP servers, so I can build logical investigation pipeline like product accident. So first of all, it bring KS agent, observability agent from QL. I will talk to them one by one, get my output of them. Uh, for example, not, and in the end, I can export the PDF with all the conversation and uh, what the model answers me. So that's it.
Oh, so you have this set up to reach out to all of your clusters?
All my Kagent controllers, yes, across the globe.
Well, and have you found it? Are you the only one using it, or have you given it to your team as well? Or do you have a team? I don't.
My SOC team use it. So some of them, like we just try to play with it and see if it's even I think.
Well, that's very, very cool.
I agree.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. Yeah, are you thinking about open sourcing this, or what are you thinking?
Um, I'm I I don't know yet because
Maybe
it's
selling it.
just telling it. I don't know. It's very suit our current situation and our specific setup. And because I have Kagent in all my clusters, so I basically based on you. And if someone not using it, so they get no benefit. So it's just useless tool.
What do you mean? It's you. I mean, it's interesting because we've talked before. We like the general. We like me, and I know Dimitro has been in those conversations where we've discussed how the model for running this is probably to have a K-agent replica in each cluster. And so I don't think that that's a crazy idea, to be honest. So,
Eh, um, I
but by the
think
way, I'm
maybe
not
it
pushing
can.
you in any specific
No, we
direction. I
just we
think this
just
is
we
cool.
just we just playing with that and see if this suits us. If we can prove something, and maybe for like months to the SOC and the NOC team will get better results. So maybe yeah, just release it like open source or something like
Yeah.
add-on for Kagent or
Yeah,
whatever.
we'd also probably, I mean, we can talk about having this be something, in Cagent if you're interested in that. Because I just by people's reactions, I don't think it seems like other people all feel like this is pretty useful. Yeah. Everybody else is I see a lot
It's,
of good reactions. So, but anyway, amazing either way, no matter what you do, awesome work. I can't tell you how much joy it brings me to to see that there's basically that we've released this thing into the world, and now people are building such cool, excuse my French, such cool shit around
Yeah,
this project. So that's awesome. I'm really
it's
happy to see it.
it was like the first question when I showed installed the AK agent and integrated with our log and metric system. Uh, our NOC team was like, "Can I export a summary of the conversation?" I'm like, oh, it can be a nice feature if the UI have that. And so
Yeah,
it's not looking good now, but it's like working.
yeah. I mean, it's interesting. It's all you should export as Markdown so that other agents can use it.
Maybe. I exported it as PDF for the users and
No, I know, I know.
JSON on the back to other agents.
Okay,
And
got it.
actually, in the production, we have kind of small MCP that collects them and build the overall summary like for a week and
Whoa.
send back to the NOC manager, and he just can see like if we get some S incidents. Shut up. Never mind. Something broke, so he can go back and see what actually his guys wrote, how they communicate with the model, and teach them how write prompts better and be more precise in their questions to the model.
Yeah, I mean, that's super cool. How do others, just on this call, how do others feel about this? What are their thoughts?
Yeah, I would
Awesome.
actually be interested to know what technology behind that UI kind of is. It you created it specifically for this task, or
It's
it
just
was
Tauri with TypeScript.
okay?
Cool. Yeah, well,
I think this is great. Like, Kagent is nice, but it's basically, it's mostly a framework, right? With
right.
some there is a UI around it, but it's like it's very basic. It's just an enablement. This really makes it a platform for
Yeah.
a very specific use.
Yeah, it's like, we think the way we think of Kagent is like, I mean, and maybe this is, getting ahead of myself, but we like to think of it like the Kubernetes for AI workloads, right? And it's like Kubernetes on its own is great, but nobody really cares, right? It's everything that Kubernetes enables. That's really where that gets people excited. And so, yeah. Cool. Mitra, were you saying something?
Yeah, just you also mentioned log processing in the large log issue, which is reducing the token size. Did you find any tricks how to reduce it, like how to prepare logs for the context? Any pre-processing?
So on the UI side, it's ND-JSON before I'm sending some prompt or paste, before it's even go to the model, shortened by ND-JSON, and on MCP side as well. So if my MCP for Victoria goes make some query and it's more than like 1 hour, like give me top queries from this cluster in this namespace for last week, you're gonna get very big result. So this result parsed to JSON, filter the messages in shortened way, the severity level, and this answer also compacted into JSON and give back to the model. So I have like from both sides a shortened way of tokens.
Okay, it will be cool if you can share maybe some more technical details offline. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, Dimitro, some of the newer specs for the OTel Gen AI conventions have like a way of dealing with token size for traces. I don't have the details. One of my colleagues is really, yeah, this is something that they're thinking about as well. Because obviously it's a problem. You know, you're ingesting just thousands and thousands of kilobytes of stuff. All right.
By the way,
Okay.
Ethan, we just took the latest version for our internal builds, and we
Uh-oh.
found that during the migration to this ADK, so there was a small kind of missing functionality with the headers. You remember we had a model and we had to ability to have some default headers on top. So
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
so we
yes.
found a comment in the code like saying, okay,
Do this.
yeah.
Hey, who put
yeah,
that there?
Yeah, and my colleague actually prepared now the changes which we will
Okay.
create a PR soon. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you. Sorry. Oops. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I will say, yeah, there are a couple of things that didn't make it through. That was one of them. Have you been using Olama? Because someone created an issue that Olama wasn't working. I don't know if you've tested it.
I'm just started to build it. I just came from vacation, so it was completely out.
No, that's totally fine. Yeah. Well, first of all, welcome back. I hope your vacation was restful.
Yeah. Thank you.
You sound very relaxed, so that's good. Okay, yeah, there's definitely that. And the other thing actually that is worth actually I'll put a note for this announcements updates. So okay, what was I gonna say? I'm gonna put a link here, Dennis, to your UI, SRE, IDE. Wait, why is that not showing up as a link? There we go. SRE IDE, Dennis.
It can be something serious then.
That's not serious. It's just something. It's just here. Don't worry. It's this. Just because we're talking about it doesn't make it serious. The whole point of this community meeting is not for like product placement or anything serious. It's to talk about cool stuff that we're building. Right? We're all having fun. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's our job, but we're all also like having fun. Right? This is cool stuff that we want to talk about that we're passionate about. So other people who see these notes, like maybe they are passionate about it too. Don't worry. Just because it's there doesn't mean anything other than that this is cool. The other thing I'm gonna say here is okay. The other thing I want to mention about the transition to ADK is loss of memory capability. I don't know if others noticed this, but when we transitioned to ADK, I removed the memory CRD. Because memory in the original system had a very specific connotation. It meant basically just like RAG, bare bones RAG. And I feel like RAG has sort of lost. RAG is still important, but I think RAG as a concept has sort of fallen by the wayside because most people do it with just like a tool call. And so I want to revisit it for sure because I think the idea of like memory with an agent is important, right? Saving it and
Yeah.
updating it and things like that. And so I do want to revisit it and think about what that is going to mean going forward. Brian, I see you raise your hand. You're muted. Sorry.
There we go. Thank you. Yeah, I would have had a whole conversation with myself. So it's good. Thanks. Something else I noticed that was lost. I don't know if it was lost or not, but in the move to ADK is just general model config properties. So in playing around with GPT-5, I noticed it was particularly slow, and so I wanted to go and see how I could configure it to, turn off the thinking mode or set. I can't remember what the actual parameter is anymore, but thinking modes to like minimal or something. Try and speed things up, and then in sort of diving into the code, I see that that's not in ADK at the moment. And I just wondered if anyone else has noticed that or run across it. Are there plans around that? I'll happily look into it myself as well, but I'm going to duplicate work.
I will say you are 100% right that one of the things that was lossy in the conversion, in the transition, was model config, because ADK does it in a totally different way. And so I tried my absolute darndest to maintain as much as possible of the default configuration, but that is definitely one thing that is problematic. And actually, this model config options gets to a very important detail of how ADK does OpenAI models, which I think in the long run we are going to have to change. I don't know if we're going to do it or we can convince the ADK team to do it, but right now they use the Light LLM library to do everything OpenAI related, and that library is so I think at some point we're going to have to basically add first-class OpenAI support to ADK, which I don't think should be too hard, but definitely something that is going to be necessary. Whether we do it in Kagent or we do it in ADK, we can do it in Kagent. Like, it's just that it's a class in the work class, whatever, in Python. So we can always just add it in Kagent if they don't want it upstream. But I do think we're going to have to do that. So,
I went down the rabbit hole into Light LLM as well, and they do, from what I saw, have like a generic, Python, whatever it is, a model config that can be provided. So my hesitation with what you said there was when you went something OpenAI specific. Like, I do like the fact that if we remain model agnostic in that way, or Kagent is and supports multiple models.
No, sorry. Kagent will always be model agnostic. I just mean the Light LM library itself is very confusing. So part of the reason that I didn't port over everything was I literally couldn't figure out. Like, it took me hours. Like, when I click through Light LM code, I cannot figure out what it's doing, because it's just taking Python dictionaries and compressing them and expanding them and compressing them and expanding them, and you're like, what's even happening? What are we doing here? So the only reason I bring that up is if we had like a first class library with actual typed classes and things, so I can actually see what these options are and what they do. And the other option is we just implement it with Light LM. It's totally fine, right? I just
I didn't see it
maybe that's just me.
too hard, but in terms of if it's just a general dictionary, okay, cool, pass it through. Like, let them deal with it. But yes,
let them do. So what sort of options? So you're thinking about like thinking options?
I know exactly what it was, and look, these things are going to change between models, which makes it, or providers, that makes it harder.
Well, we already have. So someone actually created an issue. I'll put that here for. This should be fixed, but someone created an issue for customizable timeouts for LM calls. So I do think we're going to need that as well.
By the
things
way,
like that.
If syncing is supported as optional, right? It shouldn't be like on the level of model, or it should be on the level of the session, where you actually choose in the chat itself syncing or not syncing. Because I see more and more than you can enable syncing just on the fly.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It could even be per request.
Yeah.
Right. It could be per task.
Yeah, per request ultimately. Yeah, it could be.
I mean, regardless, it should be configurable, right? I think that's what you're saying.
And I suspect that you might want everything in terms of, you might just want to have a standard GPT-5 quick mode type of model, and then others may want to be able to swap and change within a conversation or within a session, shall we say.
I mean, we can always have defaults, and then it can be overridable or something.
Yeah, and certainly in the terms of
you just reminded me another thing. which probably
Bring it
could
on.
be like related to hold this conversation. Olama recently announced like support of actually Olama API. So now, if you subscribe or you got a subscription, you actually can use pretty fast and nice models in this turbo mode, where basically you need to change Olama URL from local to go to olama.com or something. Yeah, and I tested that. It looks pretty cool because there are not many people currently using it, and it's super fast. It's like it's immediate to getting response and everything. If you compare it with like chat, GPT-5, basically it's very different. And also they have these models like GPT OSS 120B, GPT OSS 20B in Olama now. So I will go and try that because I have that access. So I'll try to certify it and test if it works.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I don't think that would be considered losses, right, from transition. That would just be a new, because they just released that. Which, by the way, I was also seeing that. I think it's very cool, but I haven't gotten to try it yet.
Yes. And did anyone try this Gamma 3 270M? It's a really small one and very super fast model. It's like you need to run it directly from the GUF file, but it's like maybe we can just review what are the latest models now and just update our defaults to.
No, I haven't tried it yet.
So a bit somewhat related. Yeah, I know I'm a bit late to the party, but I more or less realized that Kagent moved from Autogen to EDT, and I couldn't find any blog posts or any notes describing the motivation for the move.
Do you want me to say it?
Because, I was preparing the workshop, and originally it said it's based on Autogen, and then I realized it's not true anymore. So, how like if I want to talk to workshop participants, what do I tell them?
Why
you are not alone. You are not alone. I think everyone was surprised.
Yeah. So I mean, fundamentally, when we originally created Kagent, like fully, like this is just me, right? Like when we originally created Kagent, right? I think that it was we were it was very early, right? ADK didn't exist. And we wanted to bring something, we wanted to put our ideas out there as fast as possible. And in order to do that, Autogen had a lot of capability that made it a perfect target for us. Specifically, it had a UI backend and a database capability. So it had all this stuff totally built in to the framework. And so and at the time and still today, I believe that LangGraph is vastly overcomplicated for agentic use cases. So we kind of ruled that out. And so Autogen felt like a great middle ground. But as we developed more and more agents internally and played around more and more with all this technology, I think what we realized is that actually agentic frameworks really shouldn't be complicated. We actually kind of played around with developing our own, and we've played around with a lot of them. And what we realized is that it's actually kind of the simpler the better. Sort of start with this idea that you just loop tool calls and go from there, right? And what we found is that ADK really does a great job of sticking to a very specific use case and really doing it very well. And also, what we found is that it's very lightweight, and so and not to mention it integrates very well with A2A because it's also a Google technology, and we believe that A2A is really the glue that will eventually hold this whole ecosystem together. And so for all of those reasons, we decided to switch to 80, 80K, and we've been very happy with the decision. There 80K is also moving much faster than AutoGen is now. Google is putting many more resources and all these other things. So it's really less about AutoGen itself and more just about what we realized is important for us in terms of moving quickly in an agent framework, and also where we believe that ecosystem is going, and sort of what we believe will be best in the long run for Kagent. And yeah. Does that make sense?
And it's also like important, if you remember, we had to fork certain repositories of AutoGen in order to move faster. And when you do it like 2-3 times, then you need to revert and you're merging and synchronizing. It's like a lot of waste. So I think moving to this new kind of framework, you see it's more streamlined, everything more like going faster. You're actually not faster than the framework itself.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. And so I think that by keeping the actual footprint of the framework very small, we're able to move a lot faster. And also, one of the things is, one of our visions was always to be able to allow people to write their own agents in code and bring them to Kagent. And so what we saw is that writing an agent in 80K is so fucking easy, right? Like it's like literally it can be like 10 lines of code. And so to us, that was like a really amazing thing. And what we realized is we can actually build our system and the bring your own system in the same way, and so leverage that to allow people to write their own agents into Kagent super easily. So there's just like a conflagration of no, that's not the right word. A constellation of reasons that
Okay.
and
Makes a lot of sense. Some of this I could guess, but
yeah.
it's nice to have this overview from the people who took the decisions.
Of course. And this is recorded, so if anyone gets mad, they just tell them it was my fault. No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe we could take the recording and turn this into a little blog post.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's actually Brian in the chat just made a very interesting point. I don't know if others have seen that as a part of the latest 80K release, they added the ability to define agents via YAML, which is something that we kicked off. So it's interesting. It's seeing the way that these different open source agent frameworks kind of influence each other. But yeah, so they're allowing for a similar feel. So we can, and because we're built natively, we can support that. Like it's very easy for us to support that sort of YAML definition if users want to bring their own agents built that way. So yeah, very, very bullish about that.
Ethan, you mentioned RAG, and we just changed the topic slightly.
Yes.
So what exactly you plan or expect in this area in the RAG?
No, so I don't. So okay, it's a great question. I think if you look at like the concept of memory in 80K, it's more about session memory, right? So the idea is more like within a given session, or like across sessions, right? Like how does a agent learn, right? It's like human memory, right?
Yeah. So basically, there are different types of memory. I think there are some sessions on that topic about agents in memory. So there are like basically your current session, right? Maybe this personality memory when your agent become more personal for specific, because specifically it talks to you, it will remember that, okay, with you, it needs to be different, or, some kind of settings per specific user who is using. And also memory, like external knowledge, right? Knowledge memory or other stuff. So you're saying
I think those are different things.
Yeah.
Like external knowledge memory is a tool call, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right. Like
Yeah.
when you're
Agree.
bringing, when you're saying that like I have a database that I'm maintaining separately and I want to expose it to an agent, that's a tool, right? You're just like, hey, here's my data, here's my data store. It doesn't really matter how it gets there. But when you have it's like, it's kind of like read only versus read write, right? It's almost like a learning module versus just a plain data, like external knowledge
Yep.
store.
I like
Does that make sense?
Yep.
So I think we need to, like, what I would like to do is reintroduce memory to Kagent in terms of like this sort of memory where it learns over the course of its runtime and maybe over the course of many runtimes or cross user, right? These are all options we should explore. But memory and
So
sorry,
my
go.
question was in context, in order to work with this and progress with all this type of memory, and previously in the RAG implementation, we had embeddings, right? Embeddings
Yes.
typically requires its own type of model, its own API, and all of that, right? When I looked a little bit, I found that there are some solutions outside where actually you can use embeddings as independent, let's say, service as well, right? So it can run as a separate Docker tools, whatever, as an API. And question is, for this memory that you are talking now, do we really need this embeddings operation or not? Or it's like just work on level of text or regular semantic search?
So I'll say one thing and then Dennis, I
Yeah.
promise. So in general, it depends on the data store. If you're using a vector store, then you need embeddings, right? If you're using storage that doesn't need vector storage, then you don't. So I think really it's kind of a detail of the specific memory
details
implementation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
All right, Dennis.
Just I'm in same opinion as you, and I think that the RAG is that using by the agent, it's more like experience that he is learning text-based and don't need embedding and will use with the time or improve with the time. And the databases and outer source is like a book that he gonna take and he needs embed models to work with that. In our example, we tried agents with the RAG on the cluster that just learn the session of the team that works and try to get better solve their problems. But if we need vector some data source, we use Microsoft RAG with embedded and just to get info from them and fast searching.
Yeah, that makes sense. Again, I think that's similar to what we were saying, is that it's an implementation detail of the memory of the memory, right? However, we'll have the memory can be Microsoft memory or whatever, right?
It's not important where it is. Like it's kind of sense to me that you have this separation and the agent grow with the time and improve with the time, and keep your data and vector stuff away from that and don't make them mismatch.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, well, we're at time. Yeah, I think the memory, if we're thinking about things that I would love for like a 080 timeline, things like memory, evals, uh, are really things that I'm eyeing. So, if anyone here is interested in picking up like a larger design epic, I think that'd be awesome. Like feedback maybe as well. We have the structure for it, but we don't really have the ability to actually action on it right now. So I think there's a bunch of cool things. 070 I think is kind of um, um, already, like, we're already most of the way through 06. So I think 07 can be slightly less. We can do we can have lane graph support. and some other things, but not go too crazy. And then maybe in the 080 timeframe, we could think about, yeah, some of these larger epics and getting them out there. I think that'd be really cool. So yeah, if anyone is interested in those, let me know. We can talk about it. I'd love to work with anyone here. So yeah, thanks everyone for coming. Awesome discussions, and I'll see some of y'all or all y'all or many more or whatever it is next week. All right, talk to y'all later.
See you.
Yeah.
Bye.